In this week's Be Your Best story, let's hear the inspiring tale of Dubai-based athletes who were able to complete the North Pole Marathon.
My name is Mustafa Mroué. I work for Visa International as the finance director for GCC.
Danny Afuni. I work for PepsiCo, Middle East and North Africa.
So it all started in 2013 when Danny and myself, along with other group of friends, we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. That was our first adventure together. After that, we decided that we want to go on and continue doing these that kind of challenges, especially that we did it for a cause. We're supporting a child with cancer. So from there, it rolled, and we climbed a few other mountains, and we did other runs, and we founded our group, the Omni Athletes.
Our objective was to be associate Grand Slammers. Grand Slam is an award in the running world, whereby if you've run the 7 continents and you run the North Pole, you can enter the associate Grand Slam club. And our objective was to become Grand Slammers. So the prerequisite or the qualification before that was that we had to run the 7 continents, and that's what we did last year. After finishing North Pole, we entered the Associate Grand Slam Club, which only has around 120 people worldwide. We became the first Arab team to enter that club, and this was the objective from the North Pole Marathon. And at the same time, help as much as we can the different charities that we can. That's partly the objective.
So you know that living in Dubai at plus 30 to 15 degrees Celsius, it's not really easy to acclimatize your body for that. So luckily we had a facility like Ski Dubai, where we were training there twice a week for a few months before our trip. So even though it's -4, or -4 to -8, which is much warmer than the North Pole, but then it was at least a good preparation to test our gears, to also to run on snow, which is very rare in Dubai. And on top of that, we were doing some conditioning training. We were running a lot. We were running on sand because the texture of sand is very similar to the texture of snow. So it helped a lot. The role of food is to fuel you up for the training and also to recover. So that's why our food was very clean, very healthy. Also, for us, we were eating with dairy and gluten-free because our bodies weren't digesting them properly. The most important bit is that we were eating really well before the race, because this is where we were building the right muscle foundation. We're building the endurance during these months. So when we got there, we were really ready, at least physically. Mentally, it was, this is where the challenge was, but physically we were perfectly ready.
Our race was 2 stages. Stage 1 was on ice and somehow shallow snow. Some parts were a bit deep, but relatively you can run. That was for 32 kilometers. The second stage of the marathon was very brutal, very harsh. It was almost, I would say, more than 35 centimeters of deep snow. So once you step on the snow, your legs, you go deep into the snow and you cannot run. You can't even fast walk. North Pole is a different kind of extreme. It's 24 hours sunlight. It's almost -40 all the time, wind chill effect. You can't wear heavy clothes, because if you're wearing heavy clothes, then you're going to sweat, and if the sweat freezes over, you can't run anymore and you basically get disqualified. So you're always very careful. You have to be very careful. You're wearing thin layers. You have to rely on your body heat. You can't sweat. You have to change your clothes periodically. And it's very uncomfortable all the way. So I would say, yes, this was the most unique thing we've done in our lives.
It was really satisfying to see the finish line and cross it and hold our flag and just finish this race.
For us, it's about inspiration and compassion. Mustafa mentioned the charities that we help, but it's more than that really. It's because we want to inspire people back home, people around us. The more you do these things, it will give you a healthy mind. It will give you a healthy body, and that inspires you to perform both in your life and in the workplace. So we've seen a lot of results after we did the first achievement, which was Kilimanjaro. So if you look at us 4 years ago, we're very much different versus today. So every time we do one of these challenges, you see the world, you meet different people, you meet different people who have different sets of values, and this is all good. So for us, this is a long-term thing. Every year we're going to have a bigger challenge than the previous year, and it's all about these set of values: seeing the world, being compassionate, and trying to inspire people through achievement. Right now we're in the middle of planning it. We're in the middle of planning what the challenge would be next year. But what we do is we try and make the one to come even more challenging. It requires more endurance and more extreme than the previous one. So as I told you, we're in the middle of planning it now. We do a lot of research on what's out there. What are the extreme races, the hardest races in the world out there. And once we finish the research, we align as members on that's what we want to do. And we're in the middle of that right now. We just came back from the North Poles.
Just for everyone, they have to have some challenging event and go for it and train for it, because it will change our lives. So it will definitely change everybody's lives to go for something big. Specifically for the North Pole, it required lots of planning, preparation, and execution at the end in the event itself.
Everyone or every group of people has a big idea, and they go on and pursue it, and they inspire other people. Then imagine that big social effect that it would have on people back home, people back at your home, people back at everyone's home. So this is all good, right? So that's the message I would say to people.